Okay, so now that we have just this raw data sort of displaying to the page, what I want to do now is make it look good. So I'm going to use Bootstrap 4, and we're just going to do what's called using the CDN. CDN means a content distributed network or something. Basically what a CDN means is that other computers are serving this JavaScript and CSS files here. So I'm going to come down to the starter template, and we're going to adjust our HTML to work like theirs. One of the things we notice that they display the HTML and the doc type different. I'm going to do this. So we're going to match them there. They've got the head. Then they also have these required med tags, and then this. Well, actually, let's just pull in this title as well. So we can just copy this from here, and we'll just throw this right in at the top. So required meta tags, this is the device settings. So this is how we get mobile friendly, because we want this to work on the phone and the iPad just as well it does on anything else. And so here we're going to say this is the Air Force PAST, but I'm going to actually spell it out, physical. So this is the title. This is going to be what shows up here. Right now it just says html.index. Once we fix this title thing, that's what will display up here. So the Air Force Physical Adaptability Self-Assessment Website. Countdown. Self-Assessment Countdown Site. So if I save this, now I've saved this, we've got the style sheet, we've got the language, we've got the new doc type thing here, and we have the new meta style here. Another thing that we want to make sure is we get these 3 JavaScript CDN files pulled down and put onto our site. So I'm highlighting them, and they go within the body at the bottom of the page. That's very important. So here's the body tag, and so we want to put those here. So these are the Bootstrap strap required JavaScript. Cool. Okay, so now I've saved this, and now if I come over here, now it's required that I'm on the internet. If I refresh this page, everything's changed. So we've changed it so that it looks more, well, it looks different right now. And so now that we have Bootstrap functioning, I'm pretty sure we have it functioning. If I were to go Command-Shift-I and then pull it in like this, yeah, okay, cool. It's displaying on mobile as well. So now what I want to do is break these into 3 columns, and then I kind of want to style this. The first thing is the button. We can make this a class, and then change this so that its class is equal to button primary, and I always like to go button block. If I save this, now our button's like that, btn block, btn primary. Anyways, start training. Why is it not white? The text should be white. Okay, so with Bootstrap, you always start with a div, and you start with a class is equal to a container. And we're going to make this one fluid. Fluid means it covers the whole shape. The next thing you do is you go to a row. So a row, and this will have, within the row, we're going to have these 2 guys. But we're also going to create a class called column. And we're going to say column 12, and that's where we're going to put the header in. And then, so that means that the header is going to be a full space one. And I'm also going to go text center here so that it's in the middle. I'm going to just slowly iterate through this. So now I've closed the row. I've got the column of 12 there, and then the rest of the stuff is outside of there. So now you'll see if I refresh the page, physical ability and stamina test is on the top in the center. The next thing I want to do is do another column. So I'm going to go div class is equal to column of 8. I'm going to go MD8, so it breaks if, and then I'm going to if it's down to a certain size, so offset MD2, and then I'm going to close this div, and this is where I'm going to put the paragraph text. And so the paragraph text is, I don't want it to be quite as wide. I want it to just be a bit more succinct. I'm actually going to change this. Instead of 8, I'm going to make it 6 and 3. So 6, offset 3, and then a 3 at the end. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're always having our columns add up to 12. So if I save this here, you'll see that this is a bit more succinct. I'm actually going to put the button in here as well. Okay, I'm just adding this here. On click. I don't understand why. Maybe if I just change this back to button, it'll work. Okay, cool. So now we've got it looking better. It's in the white. The button. And now if we go start training, all our stuff is still over here set to this. So what I want to do now is adjust it so that the clock display, the prepare to start, the past activity and the current activity and the next activity are all listed out. So instead of just saying past activity like this, I'm going to go, I'm going to put these into, let's see, past activity fills in there. So if we change this to a, yeah, well, first off, what we'll do is we'll just create, we want these guys all to be within the same container. So I'm going to move these up here. But then I want there to be a separate row for all of these. Except for the clock display. We'll deal with that later. And so these guys are all within their own new row. And within each of them, I want to put them in a column. So I'm going to go div class is equal to column. And then 4, 8, 12. 4. And what we do okay, I want to add these above there. We do columns of 4 because they add up to 12, and that'll make it so that these guys are all evenly displaced across the page. And so now they should be, if we refresh here and we do the start time, they should be across the page, but they're not. Div row column 4. Oh, I need to save the page over here. Refresh, hit start training. Now they're across the page. Now it doesn't mean anything right now because they're all in these weird shapes. So what I want to do now is add in something here to define what's going on. So something like, we're going to go H1. No, let's go like H5, and we'll go class of text muted. And then here I'll go upcoming activity, current activity, and then previous activity. The idea here is that when you're doing these workouts, you kind of forget sometimes where you are. And if you maybe show up late from the run and it says, okay, now your current activity is push-ups and your past activity was your run, well, then you know that you're running late. We want to add a PY of 3. This just means padding on the top and the bottom of 3, just to give this some space. And so now, if we were to start training, we'd have, oh look, the div is past activity. Why would that be above there? Oh, that's the clock. Okay, and so now 10 seconds in, and it's like prepare to start is the previous activity. Our current activity is a 25-meter underwater swim, and our upcoming activity is our second 25-meter underwater swim. And so this is the countdown timer right now. So let's do something with the countdown timer to make it look cooler. We want to make, let's see, we've got rows going everywhere else. This is a row, that's a row. And so let's make another row. And then we'll just do the padding as well. Just start getting in that habit. This guy can go here, and then we close the row. And now I want to make this pretty big. I'm going to go div class is equal to a column of 6, MD6, offset MD6. And I'm going to close this. And I'm going to make this an H1 tag so that it's just as big as it can be. And now if we reset, the timer should be quite large. Okay, because the 6 and 6 is 12, yeah, but we don't want to be 12 on the offset. I need this to be 3 so that this timer is centered. And then we might as well do a text, a center on this one. Text center, which will make it so that when we click the timer in, it'll start right here. Yeah. The button's actually going to disappear as well. I wonder if yeah, I should put the button here, and then when we refresh the page, we start timer there. And then when we do on click for the start training, we want to go document get element by ID, and we want to get the button and hide it. I think it's what's the button? Okay, so we want to be ID is equal to start button. So we add a ID of start button, and then when we do the countdown timer, get element by ID, we want to go start button. And then we want to go add class is equal to hide. And I'm pretty sure this will make it so when we restart the thing, oh, it didn't work. Add class is not a function. jQuery add class. So document get element by ID, start button. So we can come back over here and say, see if we can get start button to be selected. Okay, cool. The start button dot add class hide. It's not a function. So maybe we just need to set it to a variable. Var start button is equal to that, and then start button dot add class hide. Add class JavaScript. Instead of, maybe I'm doing it in jQuery, which is causing a problem. Get element by class list dot add. There we go. So instead of saying add class hide, we want to say class list dot add, and we're going to say hidden. Okay, that didn't work. What about hide? CSS hide. Add class hide. Add style. Hide an element. Display none. Class, maybe style list. Visibility hidden. Maybe JavaScript add style. Get element style property. Okay, there we go. So start button dot style. What did I say? Dot style dot property. Dot style dot property is equal to display style display none. What happens now? Hide hidden class. Didn't work. Start Okay, so I've refreshed the page and we're going to try this again. Let's see. Get element by ID, and the ID is start button. Now let's just do it with regular JavaScript. Start button. We're going to say var start button. Cool. So I'm going to set this here, and then we're going to say start button dot, what was it, add class? Start button dot classlets dot add hide. And if I inspect here, you'll see hide is on there now, but the hide class doesn't mean anything. So again, I'm just going to take the start button dot class dot hide, because this is the code that actually gets us the class. And then in our style sheet, I'm going to create a class for hide, which is going to be equal to display none. And that should cause us to hide this timer when it starts. Okay, so now we're hiding the start button after, so there's nothing really going on. We've got 10 seconds, 27, and then here, prepare to start has shifted to first 25-minute underwater swim. And I actually want to create a little timer in here that says time remaining for the underwater swim. And that we'll do in the next one. This is kind of cool too, because if you notice, like if you inspect it, you can look, you see it works on a mobile device as well. So we can actually, you can just pull this website up on your phone, press the start button, and then you're off on a hour and 40-minute PST past training session. So yeah, we're pretty good. We've got it displaying now, and we've got the basics worked out for starting to do that. In the next lesson, what we're going to do is convert this algorithmically so that it works throughout the whole thing. We've got it started here, but we're going to make it better in the next video.